All right, everyone, welcome. Let's get started. Today, we're going to lay down a really key piece of your Mandarin foundation, and that's the ability to describe location. Honestly, this is one of the most fundamental skills you can learn, and getting a good handle on it now is going to make a huge difference in how you navigate the world and communicate with confidence. So, let's dive in.
I mean, think about it for a second. In any language, this is something we do all day, every day. Where's the library? Oh, the coffee shop is just behind the bookstore. Hey, I'm standing in front of the main gate. Without this skill, we are quite literally lost. It's the difference between finding your friends for lunch and just wandering around aimlessly for an hour. So today, we're going to build the exact tools you need to handle these everyday situations in Mandarin.
Now, I don't want you to think of today's lesson as just another vocab list to memorize. Instead, I want you to see these as three essential interlocking building blocks. They're like the Lego bricks of location. With just these three words, you'll be able to build a surprising number of useful, meaningful sentences. If you can really master these three, then everything else, left, right, above, below, is going to click into place so much more easily down the road. So, to talk about where something is, we have to start somewhere, right? We need an anchor. We need a word that firmly connects our subject, the thing we're talking about, to its place in the world. And that brings us to our very first, and maybe the most important, building block of them all. And this word is 在, pronounced 在. Now this little character is an absolute powerhouse. You see, in English, we need a bunch of different words like to be, at, in, or on. Mandarin is much more efficient. It just uses 在 to do all of that heavy lifting. So it can be a verb, like in I am at home, or it can act like a preposition to introduce where something is. This makes it incredibly versatile and foundational to the language.
Okay, let's really break down the pronunciation because it's so important to get this right. First, that initial zai. This trips a lot of English speakers up. It is not the buzzing zai you hear in the word zoo. Instead, I want you to take the tip of your tongue, put it right behind your top front teeth, and make the diz sound, like at the end of the word kids. Hear that? Diz zai. Zai. Good. Now the ending, I, is easy. It's just like saying the English word I. Put them together, zai. And finally, the tone. It's the fourth tone, the falling tone. It needs to be sharp and definite, like a chop. Zai. Let's try it again. Zai. Practice that sharp downward motion. So grammatically, what's its job? Well, I want you to think of zai as the glue. It's the essential piece that sticks a subject to its location in a sentence. The formula is simple. Subject, zai, location. That's it. It's that straightforward and that important. You pretty much can't make a basic sentence about where something is without it. Excellent. So now we have our anchor, our glue word, zai. We can start adding a little more detail. Where exactly is this thing? You know, a really powerful way to build your vocabulary is to learn words in pairs, especially opposites. It just gives your brain two little hooks to hang the new information on, and believe me, it really helps with remembering them. And our next two building blocks are a perfect example of this. We have 前面, which means in front, and its direct opposite, 后面, which means behind. We're going to break each one down, but for now, just look at them. And listen, 前面,后面. Do you see how they have a similar structure? That's not an accident. The language is built with these kinds of patterns to help you learn. So let's start with the first one in the pair, 前面. To really truly learn a word in Mandarin, have it stick in your long-term memory, we have to look inside it. We don't just want to memorize the sound. We need to deconstruct the logic of the characters themselves. So, let's pull it apart. The first character, qian, means front or before. Simple enough. The second character, mian, originally meant face, but its meaning expanded to include surface or side. So what do you get when you put them together? You literally get the front surface or the front side of something. Isn't that cool? It's not just some abstract word, it's a description. And understanding that logic makes it so much easier to remember. Now, let's talk about how to say it. That first syllable, tian, has another one of those initials that can be tricky for us, the Q. This is not a K sound, not at all. It's more like the ch sound in cheap, but with a little puff of air. The tone is the second tone, the rising one. It should sound like you're asking a question. Tian. And the second syllable, mian, usually gets a neutral tone here, so it's very light. The real emphasis is on that first syllable, tian mian. Listen one more time, tian mian. Okay, so let's apply that exact same way of thinking to its opposite, 后面. And you're going to see that beautiful parallel structure again. Look, there's that character, mian, again. And the logic here is just as clear. The first character, ho, means back, behind, or after. And we already know that min means surface or side. So if Chan mian meant front surface, then ho mian literally means the back surface. See the pattern? Once you understand the building blocks, the meaning of the bigger word just becomes obvious. So let's lock in the sound. The first part, ho, is pretty straightforward. The real key here is the tone. It's that fourth tone, the same sharp falling tone we used for zai. It's a quick drop. Ho. Now, this is a fantastic way to train your ear. Let's compare our two new words. In front goes up, qian. Behind goes down, ho. Listen to the melody of the whole words. Qian mian, ho mian. Can you hear that rise and fall? That's what your ear needs to catch. Okay, so far we've been pretty deep in the weeds with the technical stuff. Characters, tones, grammar. All of that is crucial. But now let's zoom out a bit and talk about why knowing these simple words is so incredibly important if you actually want to function in a Chinese-speaking country. This is really where it all comes together. This isn't about getting a good grade on a test. It's about real life. Imagine you're studying abroad in Beijing. You need to find your lecture hall. You're trying to meet a friend at a busy cafe. You need to tell a taxi driver that your dorm is behind the main library. In all these situations, being able to clearly communicate about location isn't just a nice skill to have, it's essential. Getting it right saves time, avoids confusion, and frankly, it shows respect for the other person's time. It's the bedrock of just having a smooth, successful day. So, how do we put these pieces together into a real sentence? Well, the great news is the structure is beautifully simple. First, you say your subject, the thing you're trying to find. Then, you drop in your anchor word, zai. And finally, you just add the location. Let's try one. To say the library is in front, you'd say 图书馆在前面. Hear that? 图书馆在前面. Or how about the school is behind? 学校在后面. 学校在后面. It's a simple, powerful formula you can start using right now. All right, that brings us to the end of the new material for today. We've actually covered a lot of ground, from pronunciation details and character logic, all the way to grammar and why it matters in the real world. So let's just quickly recap the absolute key takeaways. Here they are, your first 3 essential building blocks. You have your anchor, 在, the glue that holds sentences together. You have the front side, 前面, and you have the back side, 后面. I really want you to own these 3. Know how they sound, know their tones, understand the logic inside the characters, and know exactly where they go in a sentence. This is your foundation. And so we'll end with a little something to think about. You've just taken a huge first step in describing the 3-dimensional world around you. You can now say that something is somewhere, and you can specify whether it's in front or behind. So, what comes next? What other directions and dimensions will you be able to add to your descriptions? This is just the very beginning of your journey to mapping out the world in Mandarin. Thank you, everyone.